All right, folks, welcome to another TWiP Pro photo critique. The critique topic for this here session was clouds, and man, did we get a group of clouds in there. Troy Miller, what do you think, man? There's some clouds in there. It's a cloudy day.
We do, and I'm going through them because they're in two sections now on the site. Like, so I gotta
Yeah,
make sure I look at all of them.
we're in a transition period right now, so yeah. so
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's a good point. So let me address that real quick. So the transition period right now. So over the weekend, I launched a new section inside of TWiP Pro, and that is our group. So basically, I up-leveled the critique area from just being a topic or a tag, if you will, to being a full-fledged micro group within the main group. So that gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of keeping those things sort of separated from the main feed so that it's easier to go through. It allows for communications and threads to happen within there. And anybody who has access to that group, all the comments and the activity that happen in that group also show up in your main feed. Conversely, on private groups, like for example, we have a not safe for work group that you can't even see in the groups area unless you're a member, and those feeds or the posts in the not safe for work area, those don't show up for anyone that's not a member of that group. So this is a good toe in the water because there'll be several more groups showing up shortly. So this is a good toe in the water to get folks used to how that works. It's not that complicated, but you know. But like Troy said, there's two places to post right now. There's the photo critique topic at the top level, which is where we have been posting, and then now there's the group for photo critique. After this critique, that topic area will disappear, so there'll only be one place to post for the critique. There have been some comments on some weirdness going on with the photo critique group. Like some people post and then their images disappear. I think I have that sorted. I think it has to do with a conflict between having a topic and a group named the same thing. But I have a which should go away after I get rid of the topic area. But I do have a support ticket in to help hopefully sort that out. So that's it. That's housekeeping. All right, that's that. Now it's time to dive in.
I'm just
You
reading the
throw-
chat while you're. I was talking to the chat, so
Oh, good grief! Who's an Aretha guy? Yeah, Moose. That's correct. Yeah, this is gonna be cool, man. So this also marks a return, or at least a reignition of the TWiP or Twitch stream stuff that we're doing. We did some tests a while back, just kind of seeing how it would go on Twitch, and it goes fine. But I've made a couple of kind of mental changes to how I want to approach it. Instead of us recording the critique and then me taking in the Final Cut and doing an edit and doing all that stuff, all that's going to go away. I'm going to stream live, just like we're doing now, to Twitch, and that will serve as the replay. I will then take that identical feed and put that on YouTube for the YouTube subscribers that are waiting for the critique to show up. So it'll be in two places, but with no editing. So it should be easier to and more of a streamlined workflow. So
we should make a note to the Colvins and the Stamfleys of the group that that their model, some of their model images may not be Twitch friendly. So you've got to bring that standard. Yeah, that I mean, anything that's even remotely implied of nudity. I mean, even just a bathing suit can sometimes be caught. So we'll have to be careful how we do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's be cognizant of that over the next couple of streams. And the community is a community. So if it turns out that streaming to Twitch doesn't serve the needs of the community, because I don't want to censor anybody. I want people to not participate because of restrictions of some, third-party service. Then I'll switch it to YouTube and we'll just stream exclusively to YouTube. So,
Stampley says, slams door and walks out.
What? No nudity? Oh my God.
you know what we could do, and I'm just, off the cuff here, but what we could do is you and I could talk about the image. We could see it, not stream it. But then the community could obviously follow along. Unfortunately, those that are watching the replay or on YouTube wouldn't see it. But those are more rare circumstances. At least that way they're fair into the entire critique. So
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
Because
see. Yeah.
I like vehemently oppose the idea of censoring people's work and not showing it because some nerds in the cloud said they don't like to see
Yeah.
darker colored skin. You know, the areola can't show that because people may get scarred for life.
Yeah.
Don't get
Yeah.
me
Well,
started. I'm on a rant
Twitch
today,
takes it
man.
further. Yeah.
I am on a. Here's. You want to see what kind of mood I'm in? You know, look at this. So here's the mood I'm in right now. Look, that's that's me. That's me. That's me all week. All week. So we'll see how that goes. And you know, damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. I even bought a new flag. I have a new flag hanging because I always have an American flag flying in front of the house, and it was getting dingy, and just the Air Force guy in me was like, "What the hell are you doing?" So
Yeah.
and they were like $10, you know. So I replaced the flag. So colors are flying true, and I got my Ruth Bader Ginsburg shirt on. So we're good. We're good. So what do you say we dive in? Are you ready to go?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good.
All right, let's talk about some of these here clouds. Let me bring this up here. Let's see. We're going to show probably my dashboard here. Let's get rid of this window. All right,
Now
here we go. All right, so we are in the main area of TWiP Pro. Just a quick refresher for the folks. So I'm now scheduling these events live, or scheduling these events inside of TWiP Pro. So if you RSVP for these events, then you'll get notifications and reminders and all that stuff of when the events are happening. Right now, we have 100% more events in here as we had last week. Because before it was just the weekly member mixer. Now it's the photo critique in here, and then the other events will be showing up in here as well as we go forward. If you move down into groups, as I mentioned before, there's 2 groups right here. If you are not a member of this one, Not Safe for Work, you will not see that in your feed. But if you would like to become a member, just request access and I will give you access to it. There's literally no restrictions on that. If you want to be in the group, just ask me and I'll put you in there. The photo critique is the other newer, or this is the newest one. This is our new group area. So if we dive in, you can see that this group is pretty much almost identical to the main level group. It's almost a community within a community. So it is our photo critique area where we have our events and our activity feed, which is all the critique photos that show up in here. And like I said, there's some folks were saying that they had some issues posting. So we're going to look in both areas just to make sure that we clear all these. But going forward, all of the critique photos will go in this critique area.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say there's a couple that are in the group there that aren't in the other topic. So
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little bit weird for this one. We'll just go through this one and then we'll go through the other one to make sure we get them all. And then, you know, after this critique, while I'm preparing the post and everything, I will delete the other one, and this group will be the way forward.
cool. How do you get back to the topic? The photo critique topic from that page.
Right up here where it says back to network at
Oh,
the
back
top
to
left.
network. Okay.
Yeah, you click on that and that takes you back out. So now you're in the main network again. You're in the
Got
main
it. That
TWiP
was
Pro.
too obvious.
Yeah, it's obvious and it isn't.
Got
right?
it.
So
Okay, because I was like, I'm lost, and I need to get back quick.
yep, back to network right at the top. It takes you back. It could be
Good
more
bet.
obvious because the community, this level of the community is very similar, if not identical, other than the color scheme to the top level. So it's easy to like, where the heck am I?
Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting because here's another sneak peek, which you guys may not have seen. So if you see this down here on the left, courses.
Mhm.
These will be deploying soon. You can't see any of these because no one's a member of these yet. These are all secret, or members only. So this is content that will be released over the next several weeks that will show up in the community for access.
Nice.
And here's Troy Miller's Capture One crash course that will be available right within the community to all who are interested. So it's gonna be pretty
Yay.
cool. Yeah. So lots of stuff like that coming up. Lots and lots of stuff is on the docket. And this was I mean, you guys know this is part of the gyrations of me trying to figure out the perfect flow for the community. It is now going to be holistically moved over, or in whole moved over to Mighty versus trying to super glue it together with WordPress. So we'll see how it goes. It's all an experiment. All right, let's dive into these, man. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. So this first one was literally, I wasn't even intending to submit this. This is mine, and this is a panorama. I want to say this is a 4 or 5 image panorama that I did with my drone hovering over Lake Mead in Las Vegas. So it's all stitched together. Yeah, it was fun shot to do. But I threw this into the community because I was like, I need an image to test. So I just grabbed one and threw it in there, and I was like, oh yeah, this fits with clouds. Okay, cool. So this was not even intended to be a submission, but an example of what you can do with panoramas inside of the community. But let's scroll down here and see. I'm going to go ahead and sort these just like we normally do in the topic area by date created. And 7 minutes ago, look who's coming in under the wire. 7 minutes ago, Michael Rhino. All right, let's bring up Mr. Rhino shot. Look at that. How ominous is that?
Yeah, those are great clouds. Those are awesome. I do love that. I always like. Now I think he says this is a morning. Oh, maybe it was a different one, but if it's in the evening, I'm all excited to see these. I never see these in the morning because I'm not a morning guy.
Well, I don't think California makes these kinds of clouds.
I don't think so.
We very rarely have clouds. Period.
Not Southern California, that's for darn sure. We just got big blue skies. But, for me, in an image like this, I love the fact that we have some foreground. I think we probably have more foreground than what we need because it's all about that cloud, and the highlight side of the cloud is really where my attention is. So left of the frame, maybe a little bit of the bottom. We don't need so much. Come in really tight on that cloud, but I do dig that. That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the questions I asked there, I think you answered it, and I didn't have a chance to read through it, but was this topic, clouds, was your intent that people, to make the main topic of the shot clouds? Or is it okay to, have the clouds be just a supporting actor in the overall thing?
Right. And I think that, with anything that we create, and I think I responded this way, is that, you got to think about who your audience is. You have a viewing audience. So if you're creating something for a gallery showing, and the gallery showing is clouds, you've got to consider, like, is that audience gonna get the reference to, like a cloud server kind of thing? And the same thing for like you and me, like we're the audience, we're the ones looking at this. So, be as clever as you want to be, but realize you have an audience.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's really cool. All right, Michael Rhino, thank you, sir.
Yep. Crappie. Tight on the clouds.
Crappie McCropperton.
Yep.
All right, next up, Mr. Jim Pewters, Ventura Beach Clouds with a Pentax K3i. Let's take a look at this puppy.
Nice.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, here's your Crappie McCropperton right here, right?
Yeah. No, these are great too. I mean, and now the thing about, clouds is that, it's kind of like flowers. They're amazing by themselves. They're just amazing. So how do we photograph them in a way that really helps them to stand out, as opposed to, like this, standing there on the beach, looking up at that sky? It's massive. That doesn't come across so much in a photograph. So perspective, foreground, middle ground, background, things like that can really help us appreciate if it's just a cloud.
Yeah. Hey, this is a tough topic. It seems deceptive, right? Because whatever, everybody has clouds. You can shoot clouds and do some processing on it and post it. But then when you think of it, like you were saying, you think of it as, is it this, like I was saying, you think of it as a subject or a supporting actor. And then if it is a supporting actor, what's the main subject? Or are the clouds the main subject? Yeah, it gets really interesting.
Yeah, clouds are very, very challenging because, one, they're big. And when you're standing on the planet and you're looking up at the sky and you're looking at clouds, I mean, that scope of space is very, very difficult to translate in a photograph. So clouds are exceptionally challenging. I mean, they seem easy and obvious, but not always.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the simple things that often become the most difficult.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let me bring us back on screen for a second. There's one thing I wanted to chat about real quick, because there was a post in the community from Jay Patel. I think it was on I forget what post it was on, but he was talking about, he basically brought up the question: are critiques necessary, and should people be critiquing themselves? That kind of thing. And you wrote a response to it. I wanted to respond here, and I think that Thomas Aaron hit it right on the head. And it could be an and. It doesn't necessarily need to be an or, right? So when it comes down to the question of, are critiques necessary? Do they help or do they hinder? I would say that it depends, and it depends on where you are in your journey and how you accept feedback. Right, because critiques aren't intended to be prescriptive. We're just two guys, right? Like, if Jay put in his post that Troy and Frederick are photography masters. I am no way a photography master. I consider myself a peer in our community, and we're just two people that have opinions that are sharing them with other members of the community. It's not being prescriptive or some edicts coming from masters on top of the mountain. It's more of, this is what I think, this is what I do, kind of thing. But on the other side of that, if you are early in your journey, Troy and I are probably further along in our photographic journey than you are, so we can advise of things that we see and things that work and things, especially on Troy's side, things that he's seen in the competition that fare better than other things. So it's kind of the experience, but I don't think it needs to be an or, like either you watch critiques or you critique yourself. I think you can do both. I think you can critique your work and, like, yeah, I think I like this, but I'm going to let these other eyeballs look at it and tell me what they think of this. What do you think of that, Troy? You agree?
I do, and I think that it's a broad subject. I think that by entering into a critique, you're asking for feedback. So don't get bent if you don't like the feedback, right? And the idea of critiques is like I said, I think in my post, is a test audience. It's this idea that other people get to put eyes on it, and we're creating a visual medium. We're creating something that others need to look at to enjoy. And so for me, the other half of my creation is I need somebody to look at that. And if I create something that other people can't enjoy, I don't feel like I'm successful, even if I like it. So because I tend to put stuff out into the world, I sell my images and I display them and I want to show them to people. So consider how you're creating. If you're just going to create and you're going to hang your own stuff in your office, that's awesome. That's one way of looking at it. But if you're going to create it and you're going to post it and you're going to share it with the world, you got to realize the viewing audience is half of the art, or at least a good portion of the art. So critiques for me are a way of getting that feedback of how your viewer is going to see it. And I've adjusted a lot of my creative process over time by hearing what other people say, whether it's directly to me or it's if they're looking at a piece of my work and they make a comment on it later. Even right down to the shape of a handle on a coffee cup. I may like it one way and everybody else was like, oh, I really hate those narrow handles. I'm like, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's
it. That's
a critique. That's what that is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And just to take that further, somebody may not like narrow handles on their mugs because of the way their hand is shaped, right?
Right.
Everybody has different hands, so it's subjective. The whole thing is subjective.
Right.
You may like taking pictures of whatever floats your boat, and somebody else may hate that. Just because they have an opinion on that doesn't devalue your work. It just, they have a different opinion.
No, but just, for me, it's just like when you take your work and you put it into a public space where other people can look at it, taste it, touch it, look at it. Now they're part of the experience, and I think that we need to embrace that as part of our art and our creation, as opposed to getting upset or offended or whatever that somebody didn't like something we created. That's That's awesome. That's actually great. That's part of it, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think low base guy in the chat hit it right on the head. That mug of yours needs a border. It's not acceptable unless it has a sloppy border on it. So
yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
So let's dive right in. Let's go back in. Are you ready to continue with this?
Yeah, I'm all ready.
All right, here we go. All right, so that was what was that last one? That was from Jim Peters.
Jim Peters.
All right, moving right along, just going through the ones that are in the new area first. Karen Sweeney is up next. What did Karen say about this shot? She said, sometimes when clouds touch the earth, magic happens. Yeah, for sure. Look at that.
Yeah, I love that. It's a double rainbow.
How is that even possible? Because that's physically impossible to have a curved rainbow like that on a flat earth. Like, how is that even?
Oh, that's right. I forgot the mood you're in. That's right.
Sorry, flat earthers that are watching this.
Oh.
I don't mean to insult your intelligence with quote marks. That's the mood. I'm in a highly caffeinated election week mood.
We're never going to get through this critique.
I know.
Great image, Karen. Thank you for submitting that. I'll try to get us back on track. I love this. The lower right-hand corner is a bit distracting. I feel it's pulling away from the rest of your image, and there's not as much cloud as there is rainbow. So yes, there's clouds there, but the clouds really aren't standing out. So it's really the rainbow. Exceptional rainbow, by the way. I do love that.
Yeah, I love this. Isn't it crazy that we're kind of in this era now where you like, even if it's just a knee-jerk subconscious reaction, you're like, was that real? Did you put that in there later? Is that post? Are those clouds real? I hate that we're there, but it's Pandora's out of the box. But I just hate that we have to make those questions.
The only thing that worries me about the fake rainbows and skies and all that kind of stuff is that we're going to see a rash of composites that suck.
Yeah.
It's just what's going to happen. It's just like when Photoshop, first hit the masses, we saw all these horrible composites, all these clone tracks, and the rest of us are like, yeah, there's like 17 lightning strikes in there. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, you could go back further than that. Like, remember the era of when desktop publishing started coming in, and the TrueType font revolution, and the laser writer from Apple, and everyone was a graphic designer and thought more fonts was better on a page. Comic Sans, anyone?
Low Base says Pandora was never in the box. No, you're right.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's just different size and different shapes boxes, right? All right, well, cool. I like the shot too. This shot gives me that feeling like it just rained, and that smell, that fresh rain smell that you have right after it rains, and it's, everything's kind of clean, and the rainbow pops out. Everything has a nice rinse on it. Definitely gives me that feel.
Yeah.
Oops. All right. Next up, Nora Zanotnis, The Horizon. All right,
that's pretty cool.
Look at that. Talk about out of the window shots. This is normally where I sit on the plane too, right there.
Yeah.
But I don't have a shot nearly as cool as this one.
Yeah, I've got a couple of these, and I don't fly a lot. When we flew to Hawaii, we flew a night flight coming home, and you could see the sunset, and it was just spectacular. I think it's just amazing there. So I love the simplicity of this. I think that if this were mine, I would crop off the right third so that the curve of the wing ended at the edge of the photo to make it more abstract. I mean, I know that this is a wing now. I see that, but I'm thinking more abstract. So cropping it off so that you don't see that light, maybe crop off that light to give you a little sense of not what it is at first. And then that will also draw your attention to the left part of the frame. So you see more of the sky and the horizon down there.
Yeah,
Wonderful
for sure.
colors.
You know what? Yeah, I love the color palette of this, just the warm to cool. And looking, you know how you look at the thumbnails to kind of get an idea of what the image is, and then you dive into it. Looking at the thumbnail for this shot, it really reminded me of Mount Fuji in Japan. Like it just had that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that? It kind of had. I mean, without the light on there, it could be a silhouette of Mount Fuji, kind of. But yeah, it
Right,
kind of
right.
reminded
No,
me
I
of that.
do. It does. Yeah, it does have sort of a mountain appearance to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. Very cool.
Solid. Yeah, great image.
Yep, I love it. Cool. Very cool shots. Light and clouds too. See, that shot is an example of that whole question. Like, what's the subject of this? Is it the wing? Is it just the overall graphicalness and the abstractness of the shot itself? Or is it the horizon and the clouds in the background? I would argue that the whole thing together is the shot. You know, there's not a hero in the shot. It all works together to kind of say what Nora was going after, despite the fact that she titled it "The Horizon."
Yeah, I like the wing. I think the wing is the strong player. I really do. I feel like that's my hero in the shot. That's my subject.
Yeah, needs to have a man on that wing. That's why Twilight Zone. There's a man on the wing.
Yeah. The William Shatner view just before.
Right. All right. Eric Pronsky's up next. He says, clearing storm Smokies, the remnants of Hurricane Zeta in the Smoky Mountains taken last week. Oh, wow. Just got an infrared converted camera, Troy Miller, and used Troy's videos to help with the processing. What else did he say? Help with the processing. Any processing tips are welcome. Shot with his Sony A7 II. Let's take a look.
Nice.
Look at that. Look at that. You influencing the masses with your ideas
I
here,
know.
man. You know,
so
key lines,
awesome.
border, infrared, black and white.
I'm just throwing options out there, man. That's all I'm doing. Just throwing out options.
Yes.
No, this is great. This is great. It's a great conversion too. He did a good job giving it a bit of an infrared feel, especially on that foreground. Sometimes cloudy days and soft light, you tend to lose the infraredness, and it can go flat. So this is really good, and clouds look really good in infrared. So
yeah.
I am immediately struggling with the horizon. I'm feeling like it either needs to be perfectly split because you know, it's then it's kind of like the clouds are mirroring the ground and the ground is mirroring the clouds, or we need to give weight one or the other. It's just slightly below center.
So you think it needs to be exaggerated more below center?
Well, this is one of those kind of images that I would love to see the horizon dead center and maybe crop square so that the clouds and the foreground have equal weight, because to me they feel like they're a juxtaposition of each other. Or give emphasis to heavily emphasis to one or the other. You know what I mean? Like either crop more of the foreground off and let us see more clouds, or crop the clouds down and give us more foreground.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough because this is one of those shots that would be an amazing, like for me, I could see using this as a background, you know. So I kind of like it the way it is. Although in the middle, do you see like down the horizon line or at the top of the mountains? Is it an artifact of the clouds? But it feels like it's been like dodged along the part where the clouds separate from the mountains, or is that just the way it is? I don't know.
I think that's just the way it is. I don't see any weirdness in there on my side. And you know, infrared does tend to, you know, play with light differently. So, you know, the shadows tend to be a little bit more dramatic, but I don't see that.
Okay.
I do love the shot. It's
yeah,
nice.
I do too. Yeah, this looks good panoramic or horizontal like this. Although if you wanted to accentuate the vastness of the vista, you could squeeze it down a little bit and make it even more elongated horizontally. Or this would work equally well, I think, as just a straight square shot where you played and with the horizon right in the middle, where you played on the kind of symmetry, you know, the symmetry of it all, with top half clouds, bottom half mountains, and it's kind of equidistant all the way around.
Yeah, I would try with that. Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Cool shot. And congrats on the infrared camera. Now just pointed at everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, one day I'll do that. My only extra cameras that I have are Micro Four Thirds, and you claim to think they're inferior life forms. So
I do not. They're just different life forms.
You think they're inferior? Come on. I
Well,
love
they're
my Micro
inferior
Four
for
Thirds.
some things. It's like a bicycle compared to a motorcycle.
All right, let's not go that. Two different tools. Two different tools. Yeah. Because a fool would try to use a bicycle. A fool would try to compete with a motorcycle and a bicycle. So it's the right tool. By the way, did you see that new
bicycle with a motor on the back?
Did you see the new Triumph? Did you see new Triumph motorcycle that got announced last week?
I don't look at the motorcycles.
Oh, it's a new motorcycle from Triumph. It's beautiful. All right. Amy Brooks is up next. Amy says, I use this image to practice my luminosity masking, so I thought I would submit it for this week's critique. All right.
Nice.
Take a look. All right. Well, cool. I'm curious what you think about this, because this looks like a great landscape kind of environmental type shot to me. Although I would like to see the whites pop a little bit more in this to make that building come out more. It feels like it's getting lost a little bit. Just a little bit, just so that it just, it's like boom right there. But what do you think?
No, I agree. This is a beautiful location. I've been there. It's I think it's Bandon Beach. I could be confused, but I've been to this lighthouse, and it's such a cool place to shoot, and the sunsets are beautiful there on the water. So, looking at this image, I really want to see the lighthouse stand out because it is in the foreground. And so a good exercise would be to mask just the white out of the building and bring those up a little bit. But also the water to the right of the lighthouse feels like it's been burned down a little bit, and it doesn't have any color in it. And I'm wondering, it maybe warm it up just a tad. I realize it probably doesn't have that already, but I think that would solidify the image a little bit. Otherwise, the right side is just kind of meh.
Yeah. This is interesting. I love all these photos. You could totally get lost in these. When I look at these shots, for some reason now, Craig Colvin, Craig Stampley, those guys pop in my head, and like, I wonder how would they position a model in a shot like this? Probably on those steps. I can see Riley in this shot, right? On those steps hanging out.
Yeah, be on the left side as a silhouette against that reflection. If you didn't add light, yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many good spots there. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, really cool shot. All right. Next up, Armando Brooks says, Chennai, India, the population likes to go into the beach after the sun on weekends and is not afraid of the big storm that's coming. All right.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that lightning is looking for things that aren't flat.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. No, and this is a great example of where we get some scale with the clouds. I mean, if we didn't have the people in there, if we just had, a horizon line and the clouds, it's still impressive, but that's the scale. So that's really cool. I'm wondering, is that horizon, does it have a bow in it?
It does, kind of in the middle. I'm surprised you didn't bring this into Photoshop and drag out a rule to see.
It definitely, yeah. There's a tiny bit of bow in it, but not too much.
Does it matter though? Like, do you think it detracts from the image? Should she have tried to fix that? What do you think? Or change it?
No, you don't have to. I'm just pointing it out as I don't think it's a negative or a positive. I think that for me, I probably would have cropped up the foreground a little bit, because right up to the bottom of those people on the right hand corner. But I appreciate how it's like dodged or burned on the edges, so it's darker on the edges, and then as we come to the center, it gets brighter. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really, really, really impactful.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. makes me want to go out and shoot clouds. You know, there's one shot I had in my mind that's been kind of hanging in there is just this shot that I saw, actually several shots by John Paul Caponegro, with whom I think you know personally. But there was a shot of, he likes to do these shots that are kind of, or at least he did this series back in the day of these clouds that he then kind of mirrored in the sky. So they had sort of a symmetrical nature to them, hovering in the sky, and then we'd add a little bit of randomness to one of them to make you kind of think that it was real, but it wasn't. And it's a very stark, very kind of simplistic art, but very nice and black and white. All of them look like they would just look ridiculously awesome, kind of hanging on the wall. So
yeah,
that's in my head. I want to do that.
Yeah. The only other critique for this image is I would try to bring that hot spot down in the top left corner. I know that was probably an opening. Yeah, I know it's probably an opening in the clouds, but it is distracting. It does pull you away.
Mm-hmm. Kind of reminds me of how the gray is showing up in my hair. It's like little spots like that.
Just random spots.
Just random. Like, come on, just go gray or make up your mind. Jesus.
Or put on a hat.
Or put on a hat or shave it off.
Put on a hat, shave it off, yeah.
All right. Armando, thank you, sir. All right. Here's Craig Stampley. He says, I forgot my umbrella.
Oh.
This guy up. Look at that monster.
That's great.
This reminds me of Independence Day. You remember the movie Independence Day?
Yeah.
When the giant spaceship came through the clouds? This kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, shooting. I don't know if anybody's ever done a time lapse of a cloud, building and raining and dissipating, and they're super cool to do. This reminds me of a shot that I did. I did a time lapse, an infrared time lapse, actually, of a storm cloud building and dissipating. So I love this look. I don't know if this is because of Mighty, but I would probably bring the highlights up. I feel like the whites in the clouds could be a little bit more radiant.
It's a little muddy, you mean? But it kind of maybe that's what it looked like that day, right?
Maybe, but why not tweak it?
Yeah, I agree. I think you could stand like in this area right here, put a Luminar 4 hot air balloon just floating. Don't do that, Craig Stampley. Don't do it.
I don't. Yeah, that's great. I do love how we have the front of the storm to the left, the cloud. We have that rain coming down, on sort of on our center on the right. I love all the story that's happening in there. It's a really great capture. I think that if I was to, massage this in Photoshop or, in Capture One, I would bring down the top left corner. I would try to bring out the highlights along that edge of that cloud, and then draw our eyes into underneath the cloud into where the rain's at.
Yeah. Here's where my nerd brain goes when I look at stuff like this. I think, how many buckets of water are in that cloud right now? If you were to capture it, how much liquid H2O could you extract from just that cloud structure?
Jeez, a lot.
Is it a lot? Is it like gallons and gallons, or is it just a little? Because it's so dissipated.
Yeah, decaliters.
Decaliters, really?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of water in there.
Gotta love the planet. All right. Next up, Stephen Scharf. What up, Stephen Scharf? Castro Valley. Clouds are, when I read this, I thought he said craptacular. Like, clouds are craptacular rays over the Eastern Sierra Sunset. Crepuscular rays. I have no idea what that means. I have to look it up. Can I look that up?
I don't know.
Yeah, let's not look it up. I don't know what that word means, but we will endeavor to look it up. Rays over the Eastern Sierra at sunset, Lee Vining, California. Let's take a look.
Oh, very nice.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I really appreciate, and I know that Steven spends a lot of time. I appreciate the fact that there's detail in the highlights. And that's so hard when we're shooting into the sky, when we're shooting into the sun or anything like that. It's hard to keep detail, but if we can keep that detail without making it look like an overprocessed HDR, then it's a win-win. So yeah, I love I even love the crop with the horizon lower. thirds. It really, we know that the God rays coming through those clouds are the hero of the shot. This is what we're looking for.
Yeah, I like it.
And I know how to make those rays in Capture One.
Yeah, or Photoshop or whatever. Would you like from a black and white standpoint? We always go here with these kinds of shots. Is the color adding to this or taking away, or would this has been a more effective shot with, you know, some of Stephen Sharf's sort of precise black and white conversion skills thrown in?
You know, I would make this black and white. I think that, you know, I always hearken back to my Ansel Adams influence in my darkroom days, that black and white would just, I think it would just really draw us into the clouds. You know, I would try it. Maybe it doesn't work.
He said he tried it. He tried it. He said black and white for this photo does not work as there is no sense of depth or distance. Interesting.
I would like to try.
Oh, send the raw file over to Troy Miller, Steven. He said he wants to take that challenge.
Yeah, not, you know what? It's fair. You know, not all images are gonna convey depth and space and all the things we want in color and or black and white. But it's one that I would try. Which obviously Steven tried as well, because it sort of is one of those type of images that you think should look good in black and white. So
yeah. You would think, but you never know. All right, Stephen Sharf, thank you for this shot. And will you let me get rid of this shot? Mighty Networks, hello. Where's my close button?
it's hidden in there.
It's hidden. It won't let me close it. It really likes this shot, Stephen Sharf. It won't let me get rid. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Next shot up is Michael Deray. Escape from reality. The door is opened.
Nice.
Let's bring it up. What's going on with my network today? I feel slow. Look at this. I love these shooting up shots. For some reason, I don't know. I just like the feel, because we very rarely look up, you know, especially perpendicular like this. It just, you know, it's always different, and the multi-layered foreground of the trees bordering the edge, and, you know, going out into the sky there. So you kind of look for patterns in the sky, and he's even got a little black border on there that looks like the branches are coming from, kind of. So they're kind of coming out of that black border and extending it into the image itself. What do you think?
No, I love this image. I appreciate this. This is really great. I mean, I love looking up. I always, you know, whenever you're out, you're walking around, you're shooting, you're photographing, always look behind you and always look up, because it's always different perspective, right? And so I love how the trees frame the opening, that they don't close in, and that there's this opening into the sky, and then there's the clouds, and the clouds have an opening. So we have this sort of repeating sense of depth, which I really like. So
yeah,
and
the depth is good.
And it looks like he has an airplane in there.
Where?
An airplane or a bug. If you go dead center, it would be 4 o'clock in the clouds, just before the trees. Down to the right. A little bit right there.
That?
Yeah.
That is not an airplane.
It's either an airplane or a bug.
I think that's a UFO, because it's a flying object that we have not identified.
It could be a bug. Yeah.
Oh, I dig it. I dig the fact that this is square too. So yeah, this is a really cool image. I like it all around.
Yeah. It could be a leaf falling. Yeah, Snapshot Art says it could be a leaf. It could be. Yeah, you could have caught a leaf. Actually, you know, you're probably right. The leaves do have a similar pattern. But yeah, there's something floating right there. That's really cool.
And it is unidentified. So it is an unidentified flying object. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah,
Neil deGrasse Tyson says that. Neil deGrasse Tyson always says, UFO, anything that you can't identify in the sky is technically a UFO. All right. Marc Charette's up next. He says, Brisbane water sunrise with crazy clouds with a border, just in case.
Just in case.
Hedging your bets there, Charette. He lays the border on the altar of Troy and backs away without making eye contact.
Oh, man. Just in case. I like that.
Don't
I
make
like
eye
that.
contact. Just leave your offering and move away.
um I really love this image, and I think one of the things that I like about it the most is the red and the blue, the separation of the two, and then the bright highlight on the horizon. So we have so many different layers that give us so much depth in this image. I would probably crop off the right side. I'd probably crop out that one boat on the right.
Oh, this
Um,
guy right here.
yeah, I would probably crop right just to remove him. I
Oh,
think
so
we
just a
have two.
line like right here.
Yeah, because I think that really draws us in a little bit more to the left, and I think that's where the strength of this image is in the left. It really draws us into that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I dig
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want this shot as my desktop right now. I need it. It's perfect.
Yeah, if I was to really work this image even more, I would probably take most of the lights out of the left, right on the shore. See, there's like a little
Oh,
cluster of
these
bright
guys
lights.
over here. Oh, okay. Make it more of a silhouette.
Well, I would just take out that clump of bright lights. I mean, it's nice that there's a few. It shows distance and depth again. But I think that one little clump of, I don't know, there's probably like 8 or 9 or 10 there. I'd probably take those out.
Yeah.
But I do love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool shot. Love these colors. That's in the range of my favorite color palette right there. I love it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Marc Charette.
Nice
Thank
job,
you,
Mark.
sir. And then that was me. I think that's the last one in that area. So again, yeah, folks, go ahead and if you haven't already, make sure you RSVP for these weekly photo critique recordings. That way you'll get notices and reminders both in your feed and through email as to when these things are about to go live and when they're going live. And regardless of where I decide to stream to next, the link will always be current, right? So you don't have to worry about, is it on Twitch? Is it on YouTube? Is it over here? The link, whatever you have in the invite itself will be current. All right, let's dive back into the photo critique area of the main topic here. Hey, notice my new icons in here? See that?
I do.
Photo critique.
Yeah, I don't see anything new yet. Oh
Get
wait, I'm still
created.
in the group. Oh, that's what I did. Okay, I gotta get back.
So we did
Photo critique.
Stevens. We did. Oh, we didn't do Ernest. Let's do Ernest right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Ernest says cloud shapes all the best.
Yeah. I like the soft foreground on that. I kind of dig
Right?
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
It feels like
it puts you in the place of the camera, right? Because our eyes don't focus, on clouds that are a mile away and whatever's an inch away from your nose. This is how we would see it, right? You'd perceive it just like this.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what our eyes would do. Our brain would build it in so we would think it was all in focus, but yeah.
Yeah,
No,
image stacking.
image stacking. Yeah. Yeah. Live AI image stacking. No, this is I like the softness of the foreground and then the sharpness of the clouds in the distance and how it's off to the right, and so I think there's a balance there. Very simple, very intentional. I really appreciate that. It's really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing that is pulling me out of the image a little bit, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but you see the darkness of the clouds here in this area, and this little whatever that anomaly is, which I assume is a branch or something that's just completely out of focus, but still obscuring the light. It is right in there, and it looks like a smudge on the image itself. So I probably would have just taken that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably an additional branch of some kind or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, either it needs to go or be more obvious that it's part of the out
Right.
of focus foliage in the foreground.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Cool.
Thank you, Ernest.
All right, then we had Mark Harris, Clouds in Motion. Nice. Mark said, Clouds in Motion made in July of 2019 in Rocky Mountain National Park. Let's take a look. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that is cool. You throw your camera on a tripod and the clouds are moving and just get them to behave like clouds and blur
Yep.
themselves.
Yeah, certainly my favorite thing to do in any kind of landscape scenario is longer exposures, because we don't normally see clouds in motion, right? Because they move so slow. We look up and they're there. We know they move. The same thing with water. Even if there's a little bit of rippling happening in the water, long exposures turns it into a mirrored surface. So I really like this. I'm trying to play with the crop a little bit. I would probably crop the trees out on the right, because I don't think that darkness helps us at all. And we could even crop up a little bit from the bottom and just give a thin strip of foreground, and then the rest of it just the clouds, because the clouds really are quite gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that pushes your eye up into the cloud area. You see this area right in the middle here? It looks like there's some clipping happening there, right? You think that would have been possible to pull down, or is it necessary in this context?
I'm willing to bet that data is there, but just being compressed for the stream and for Mighty just putting it on the web. You're going to lose that latitude. But yeah, yeah. And I might also grab the sky, which is a color, and I would pull that color down and darken it, just so the clouds tend to pop a little bit more. I think you could get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple dust spots at 3:00 in the sky between the two clouds.
Oh,
4,
yeah, right here. Yeah. Either that
5,
or UFOs. Could be UFOs flying in formation.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's a lot. They're in there.
Yeah. So you need to zoom in, do a 1-to-1 and a sweep over the image to clone out all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just inherent in these images, and especially if you're shooting at a smaller aperture, and especially if you're shooting infrared. Holy crap, infrared! You see
Oh,
dust
really?
so
Does it reveal
much.
those a lot? Oh, I didn't know
It
that.
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Noted. All right. Stephen Sharp says the power of luminosity masking.
Yeah.
And Roaming Wrangler Thomas says, especially if you're shooting Sony. I love it. All right, Lamb is up next, and Lamb says, my entry for the theme clouds, bright sunlight, blue sky, and white clouds. This is the road that connects my office to the project site. Photo was taken on my way back to my office with a Vono car cam. This is the car cam again. Yeah, those car cams are heavy-handed on their compression, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah. But it's an interesting view. I mean, the clouds are beautiful. I wish we had clouds like that here more often. And that color, and this is one of the things, take note for anybody that's thinking about throwing in, clouds and skies, that I've learned. Notice how the cloud size and shape change as it goes off into the distance, and how the blue changes. It's brighter on the horizon and it's darker in the foreground. Sometimes that's inverted, but if you just throw in a flat image in there, our brains are like, nope, that doesn't feel real. So
yeah, this is cool. I like the fact that Lamb gives us images that aren't necessarily with these high-end mirrorless or DSLR shots, which he does from time to time also, but he also is not shy about throwing a phone image in there or a car cam image in there.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, nice crop. I like the signs in the lower left. Everything's kind of in focus, and it's not something that we have a good leading lines and things like that, but it's certainly a fun shot, and the clouds are a nice dominant subject in there that's fun to see.
Yep. All right, Lamb. Thank you, sir. All right. Who's calling me? Spam risk. I think I shall not answer that.
I was gonna say it's me, but then you said spam risk, so that joke would have failed right there. So
yeah, exactly. All right, let's get out of this one. Thank you, Lamb. All right, next up is from Craig Colvin. Craig says, cloud cleaning. Look at that.
That's such a great title.
Pattern interrupted. Look at that. There you go.
Yeah. This is an image that I wish that there wasn't the cleaning thing in there, right?
But that makes it though. That's the interruption of the pattern though.
I think the interruption of the pattern is no pattern in the top right-hand corner. You have all these shapes and all these triangles and all these lines, and then in the top right corner there are no lines. It's just pure sky. So I appreciate the irony that it's there, and the title is very funny, and I dig that. I think that for me, like, I would take the same shot, and then I would wish those guys were not there.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I think we're talking about two different shots though. So I think
I think
it would stand on its own without that in there, and it would have a very different message than it has with the window washers in there, or the window washing. I don't know. Are they actually in there, or is that just their thingamajig?
I think they're in there. No, I can't tell.
Right?
Yeah,
they gotta be in there, or else why would it be hanging down there? Right? So it's gotta have people in there.
Yeah, you can kind of see in the reflection. But I dig the shot, and I love the vision that Craig has here, and the composition. With the window washer, off to the top right and third. I'm kind of playing with another crop with my left hand, and that putting the window washer dead center and cropping it sort of vertical so that the lower left angle mirrors the upper right angle, if that makes sense. And put them right in the center. There's so many ways you could crop this, but
oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're saying so one crop would have been to take this line and then rotate the image so that this line, well, those lines are always going to be the same.
Just crop off the bottom half and the left half. Yeah,
bottom half and I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, and make sure you grab a little bit of that left triangle to sort of mirror or mimic or complement the upper right triangle.
Kind of like that.
Yeah. I just suggest that because so oftentimes you can tell different stories with an image just by a crop. But this is great. Kudos for seeing it. I mean, I think half of being creative and half of creating this work is being able to see it first.
Yeah. But good in color on this one, or would you have applied black and white to it, or even infrared in this case? How would an infrared shot have done on this?
Infrared would have been insane. Infrared would have been super cool. Because the clouds would pop out, the blue would go dark, and then any of the shadows and stuff would go dramatic. You could kind of pull that off if you did black and white, and you separated the tones between the warm tone, the blue tones, and then the white luminosity. I mean, you could do it all in Capture One, and you could separate them. You might make a cool black and white out of it. Yeah, I like it. I like it how it is. It's almost duotone now. It doesn't have a lot of colors.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, you got your blues, your whites, your blacks, and your kind of warm gold of those horizontal lines in the building.
Right. Any image that's my favorite, I always run it as a black and white. I always look at it as a black and white, just to see it differently.
Love it. All right, Craig Colvin, thank you. All right, next up is Mike Doran. All right, Mike says, my submission for the FBF. Do I know what FBF is? I feel like I should know what that is, but I don't know what that is.
I don't know. He has another one he posted later for the TBT. I have no idea.
Follow Back Friday? This has got to be Follow Back Friday and Throwback Tuesday or Throwback Thursday or something. But we don't do that.
I have no idea. There's no clouds in there, though.
In this one, there's clouds. There's clouds.
Okay. All right. It's not a cloud photo.
Okay. He said, my submission for the FBF created during the... Too many acronyms. Too many acronyms. FBF created during the first visit to the SRO America World Challenge at Sonoma Raceway. Uses, the EM1X, which is a beast of a camera.
Yeah. Yeah. He did say, I believe I'll enter this in the cloud critique. So...
So,
Well,
yeah.
Mike, those are some really nice clouds you have back there, but they're blocked by the mountainous road pathway with all the cars on it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a car shot. And again, you didn't specify, does the shot just need to have clouds in it, or should clouds be a main element of the photo? So
oh no, I didn't. But
he fits.
well,
He made it.
we did kind of in the beginning talk that the subject will be critiqued based on the topic. So,
That's true. That is very, very true. Yep.
yeah. But it's a cool
So,
shot. I mean, as far as a car shot goes, I like the fact that we have this stacked background. We see the
mhm.
roads, the color, the separation is really nice.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. I dig it. I need to get to that raceway one day. One day in my life, I got to get to Sonoma Raceway. It is on my list. I wonder if they're even open now. I wonder if they're doing anything. Is it all shut down for reasons?
I don't know.
All right. Next shot up is, I think we already looked at this Michael Rhino shot, right? So
We did. Yep.
and the Marc Charette shot we've seen.
We did. Yep.
Here's another Mike Doran shot. This is the other one that you mentioned. Let's look at this one really quick. This is the Deep TBT. It was created during the 2018 Motor America Series at Race Sonoma. I don't know what TBT is. I'm guessing it's Throwback Thursday or Throwback Tuesday or something, which we are not participating in on TWiP right now. So,
Yeah. No, it's a cool shot. Great timing.
yeah.
I think that, like a motorsport shot, though, either get him dead center or a little space in front of them to the left would certainly help this image. But
Mm-hmm.
great timing. I like how they both have their front wheels off the ground, and they're coming over that rise and they're on the power.
Yeah. Yeah. This makes me think of, hey, Stephen Scharf, open up a browser window and type in Triumph Trident. Tell me, 3 cylinders. Tell me what you think.
Another motorcycle distraction for you.
I love, life is just a distraction, man. Come on, live it. It's one long series of shiny objects.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All
Yeah,
right, Mike
coming over
Doran.
ridges like that on a motorcycle or a quad or anything with horsepower is always so much fun because you float. You feel like you're floating when you're coming down on the other
Oh,
side.
the negative G's. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got to do it just so you don't bring that rear tire off the ground. Otherwise, you could be in all kinds of hurt.
It could end badly. Yeah, especially if you land on some sand or something. All right. Peter Levshin is up next. He says Sony A7R2 infrared colored IR flying very high. Oh, interesting. Let's take a look at this.
I don't know if this is supposed to be upside down or not. So
You know what? I mean, obviously these are inverted hot air balloons, but I see what he did here because inverted like this, they look like teardrops. They look like little water droplets.
Yeah.
So I want to go on record and say that he intended it to look like this. I like it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's very creative. This is very much a view into Peter's brain, how Peter sees his creative. He's very creative, and he sees things, very different sometimes, which I appreciate. So this is definitely Peter's brain. Certainly shot on infrared and then toned. So
yeah.
I
Oh,
like
this was
it. I like
infrared. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did say that infrared and then tone. Yeah. I wonder. I guess in a shot like this, the blue makes sense, right? Because you want. Well, I mean, people would know it was clouds if it was black and white as well. Does it need to have the blue tint to it? Like, what do you think?
It doesn't need to have the blue tint. I think the blue maybe helps us represent a sky. I think if it was in black and white, I think we would have to work a little bit harder to sort of fill in the blanks, right? Like we would have to sort of figure out, like, are those waves or are they clouds or what's happening? Oh, they're hot air balloons. They're upside down. Okay, so it must be clouds.
Yeah.
So I like
think this
the
image
play
would have
on
been-
reality.
I do too, but I think the image would have been equally powerful, if not more so, just in its normal orientation. Kind of just showing the pattern of the clouds in the background. It's the sky going off into the distance, and then these stark, contrasty objects floating in the foreground, and that's it. It's already very simple. I think the inversion is fun, but I think it would have been an equally powerful image had he left it in the normal orientation.
I agree. No, I agree.
All right. Thank you, Peter. See if I can find that. There it is. See, that's the problem with Mighty. On those darker images, the X to close out of that image is black, so it gets lost, and they need to code it so it is aware of the image that you're looking at and give a contrasting X close box. All right, and that's it. It looks like that's the last shot. That's all right, so here's a moment of truth, man. What's your opinion?
You know,
can I tell you what mine is before you tell me what yours is?
Yeah.
We'll tell you. I'm going to bring mine up on screen right here.
Mine's up on screen.
It's on screen now. All right, close. Yeah. You got it. So close your eyes, and I'm going to say the name. So I'm going to just bring this one up. So this is the one I'm thinking.
Sorry, I blinked.
I like this shot a lot, Marc Charette.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it, and not just because of the border. Not just because of the border. This image has a lot of the elements in it that I really appreciate about a landscape. You know, we've got foreground interest, we got middle ground, background interest. The subject matter, which is our clouds, they're sharp, but the foreground is soft, yet it's reflecting the clouds. I mean, we've got this color harmony that is just so tasty. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. This one speaks to me. Maybe it's because it reminds me of the, neon velvet paintings in the 80s.
Yeah.
It kind of had this kind of neon black light glow going on too. I like it.
Yeah.
It's really well done. So yeah, that's my favorite as well. Well done, Mr. Charette. Very, very well done. I like it.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, cool. We did it. We went through everything. This is our transitional episode over to the new group in the community. What are your any final thoughts on the clouds before we move on to the next one?
No, I mean everybody did a great job. I love seeing everybody, challenged to the topics, and we're getting such a good turnout. And it seems to me, you and I have sort of spoken in the green room, that we feel that the community's work is getting better. Right. I mean, maybe they're just not pulling, they're pulling out all the stops now, but I feel like it's growing, and that's getting harder and harder to critique. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Yeah, it is. It's getting better and better. And remember, get rid of the word "or" out of your vocabulary when it comes to creative stuff. It could very well be an "and." It doesn't necessarily have to be "or" all the time.
Yep.
Except for when it comes to critique topics, Troy. So what's next week's critique topic?
Our next critique topic is nostalgic. Nostalgic. Yes. So you gotta play with it. You gotta try.
All right.
I don't have any. Yep. Yeah. Nostalgic.
That's broad, man. That is, now that I think
about it, know it is
very broad, because nostalgia in and of itself is subjective. Because
it is.
Something happened last week you could be nostalgic about. It doesn't have to be like it happened in the 60s or something.
Sure. But I think that, again, it really goes back to this exercise that if you take on an assignment and you're creating for a client or a subject or a critique or a contest, you've got to think about your audience. Who do you want to impress? If you want to just put work out and you just want to say, hey, this is my art, like take it or leave it, well, you may or may not get a good critique or get a good viewing on it. So this is one of those things. It's also about being creative and pouring yourself into it. But for most of us, if we want to create work and we want to sell it to a client, or we want to be able to sell it in art shows and stuff, we have a viewing audience.
Yeah.
So they're creating things that are nostalgic for you and me is really kind of where, the critiques are going to change. So
yeah. No, that's very cool. This will be an interesting topic, because even as you were sitting there talking about it, I'm nostalgic about lots of stuff. Like Moose 408, aka Craig, in the chat says he's nostalgic for 2018. So I'm nostalgic for that, and I have a feeling by the time we record the next critique, a lot of people will be nostalgic for a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because, right? I'm just saying.
Well, something to consider too is on a topic like this, and in the forum where we're posting these images, the title that you give the image can really help us kind of know how you're feeling. Not the description, not the whole dissertation about why this is important to you, but the title, because that's really what we should be looking at, is the image and the title. And seeing how that leads us to see that image.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I'm excited to see. This is always like, this is one of the highlights of my week. This and our member mixers on Friday, but this one, we get to sort of look at the images and chat and set the tone for the week of what people are going to go out, hopefully, and shoot. And this time it's going to be nostalgia. This should be really interesting to see because we have a pretty wide swath of creative people in the community, so it'll be interesting to see how everyone interprets nostalgia, because there's a wide age range in there. There's a wide range of just ideas of what is cool. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, like, I picked this on purpose. I mean, I intentionally chose a hard topic because it challenges us. And for me as a creative, and having to go photograph weddings and be in places that I create for people that I don't know what's in their head, I have to constantly try to figure out, what somebody else wants. So I thought, this is really going to push people to put effort in. And just to make you feel better, the topic following nostalgic is open. So,
oh, well, there you go.
You get a breather after that.
It's funny. I'm looking in the chat on Twitch right now, and of course, Work Picks, Marc Charette, congratulations on being a favorite, has to go down the route of being explicit. So he looked up nostalgia, and he says, defined as etymology, late 18th century, in the sense acute homesickness. Modern Latin translating German. Come on, dude. It's nostalgia. It's just kind of like hearkening back to the way things were. Just think of it like that. No need to put a fine point on it. And of course, Stephen Sharf has to chime in on that. Another definition: a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically a period or place with happy personal associations. In other words, the good old days. That's it, right?
Yeah. It's great.
Take photos of something that you perceive as the good old days, and the good old days could be last week, an hour ago, or a decade ago. So, fun stuff. Cool. All right. Before we end this, any final thoughts? Any final things you want to share with the folks?
See, same thing. Be safe, and be creative, and have a good day. Be a good human. This is a year we need to just lift everybody up. So try to do that.
I agree. What that guy said, and I would just tack on to that: vote. Please get your ass out there. Get your ass out there and vote. Whatever leaning direction you lean in, who cares? But vote. Just get your vote in. We need to have a historic turnout in the vote this year, regardless of who the winner is. All right. Well, cool. Well, we'll end it right there. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Remember, next week's topic is nostalgia/nostalgic. You got the definitions, or just shoot something that reminds you of the good old days. You could just put in brackets the good old days.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. And I do hear the folks in the chat and you, Troy, about the quality of the stream. So I'm going to look at that and see what's going on there. It's probably me. It's not set to anything crazy, so I don't know. Might be my bandwidth. Comcast Business has been royally dropping the ball lately, so we could blame it on them as well. All righty. Cool, folks. Thank you very much. And we will see you in the community, and we will see some of you in person via Zoom Friday at the 6 p.m. TWiP Pro member mixer. All right.
Yep.
See you later.
All right. Bye, guys.